Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
I've always wanted to go on a cruise. Can you imagine one of those 15-day cruises from the Holy Land across the Mediterranean Sea, stopping at various ports to explore? That's what Paul got when he appealed his case to Caesar. They left Caesarea, stopped at Sidon, then Cyprus, and Myra. They switched ships and landed in Fair Havens. But lest we get the idea that this was a pleasure cruise with fine dining and all the amenities, we have to remember Paul was a prisoner. And this was the days when ships had to use sails to get anywhere. They were at the mercy of the weather, which of course God controlled. So when a storm blew them off course and wrecked the ship on the island of Malta, they were pretty much stuck there for the winter. For Paul, those 3 months were a reprieve from being a prisoner. After healing the Roman governor's father, he became an honored guest and most likely used his time to share the gospel with everyone on the island. But after the well-deserved island vacation, the group of missionaries, as well as other prisoners and their Roman guards, headed to Rome and reality. The first short stop was Syracuse, but on their next stop, Puteoli, some of the Christians there invited the missionaries to stay with them for the week that they were there. In my generation, Billy Graham was a famous evangelist. I remember when he came to Cincinnati when I was 3 and our family attended. We watched him on TV too. A friend of mine in college remembers Billy Graham coming to his town. My friend's father was a Middle Eastern pastor who had gotten kicked out of his home and pretty much blacklisted from entering any other Arab country because of his evangelistic outreach. So he and his family lived in Monaco and broadcast Arabic messages to the Middle Eastern countries. My friend had grown up in Monaco, which is a tiny country on the coast of France next to Italy. He said Billy Graham came to visit and stayed in their family's home, and he got mad because he had to give up his room for that big American. It wasn't until he came to America for college that he realized who Billy Graham really was. So I can just imagine a Christian child in Puteoli being annoyed because he had to give up his room for this Roman prisoner because he didn't know who Paul was. But everywhere Paul and his Roman guards landed, they found Christians eager to see Paul and take care of him. That's the Christian family. When they landed in Italy, Christians from all over came to meet the ship. It says, when Paul saw them, he thanked God and took courage. That's Christian hospitality at its finest. Can you imagine how much that encouraged Paul? A church I attended in seminary had a 75th anniversary while I was there. People came from everywhere. As I sang in the choir that morning and looked over the packed church, it hit me that this was what heaven would be like. Only I would know everyone and we'd be singing praises to the Father. Won't that be glorious? Paul must have felt the same way as the believers gathered from other towns to encourage and strengthen him for what was ahead. And that's what a church family is for, to gather around someone who's hurting or having a rough time and encourage that person with a text, a hug, a meal, or whatever God puts on our heart to do. Living in community with other believers, none of us should ever feel alone. How can you be an encourager to your church family today?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.